CEO, good to see you.
Good to see you, Jeff.
This has been a journey, hasn't it? Getting the World Rally Championships to come back to Kenya. Tell us about it.
I tell you, it's been a journey. Some times back in 2013, His Excellency the President, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, decided to include the return of the safari back to the World Championship in his manifesto. And he followed it through up to the time that we were announced that we would get back to the World Rally Championship on the 27th of September in 2019. After that, obviously, we were supposed to hold the first rally in 2020, but COVID came knocking, and we all know the havoc it has wreaked in the sports world, so we had to wait. And now we're slotted for the 24th to the 29th of June this year.
Yeah.
We have 52 days to go.
52. And you're supposed to turn this around into the safari rally that we used to know, Phineas, the one we used to know back in the day?
I tell you, it's greater, it's evolved, it's completely different. I think we'll have an opportunity to talk about what the new safari looks like. But one thing that the safari we've promised to give people is the same character of the event that we used to have, the toughest rally in the world. But now we're saying it is the great Kenyan experience in Africa.
Okay. Are we expecting some big names?
The new safari, or the way the World Rally Championship works, it is mandatory, just like Formula One, for all the registered drivers to be here. So it's not a question of choice. All the world champions who are running will be here, from Ott Tanak, Novel Thierry, all those big names.
Yeah.
Evans, anybody, when you go to WRC and see the big names,
Right.
all those boys will be here.
And they've all confirmed they're coming.
They've confirmed they're coming, and I can confirm that I've got 60 plus 40-foot containers in the ICs right now.
What does that mean for Kenya, Bonacio? What does that mean for this country at this time?
It's amazing because the rally is not like any other sport where we just put in money. What we expect is a direct injection, even with COVID, of a minimum of 6 billion Kenya shillings into the Kenyan economy. That's direct. It has nothing to do with the publicity we will get. That is the money that will be spent by these teams and the people who will be taking part in this rally.
There's been a warm-up to the World Rally Championship, and Mike, you've been covering it throughout. What was it like? What was the experience like being there at Hell's Gate and the other parts?
It's one of those things that Jeff was being looked at to test and see if we're really prepared to host the WRC. And Equator Rally was now the test event for us. We looked at COVID protocols, we looked at media, we looked at safety, we looked at all those things, all right? And I can tell you, Jeff, covering it, I was in Naivasha for 5 days with Phineas, and he was on top of things, doing everything that is expected. He was in the service park, he was in the media center, he was out in the route, he checked out everything else. And one of the things that really annoyed us as the media, but we came to understand it has to be done, is you've got two areas. You've got the high density area and the low density area. High density area, service park, you don't get in there if you're not tested for COVID and you don't interact with anybody else. So that is one of the safety measures. And I think after the president came to Naivasha and saw the protocols that have been put in place, he was convinced that maybe we're ready to open up sports again. And a few days later, he said, actually follow COVID protocols and you can get back to sports. So I think it's one of those things that it really tested us, and one of the questions to CEO would be, what does the FIA think? Are we in the clear? What is their take out of the Equator Rally? Because we did everything like we would do it for the WRC Championship. Yep.
So basically, we're clear, we're green to go.
We're good to go, and what Mike has asked is a very important question. What does the FIA think? The truth of the matter is that we were voted the best regional championship ever held on the continent of Africa. The Equator Rally that was just concluded.
Tell me something. Recently, there was a golf game tournament that was viewed by a huge global audience. Are we expecting the same for a rally like this? Will Kenya gain mileage from this?
Now, Jeff, the World Rally Championship is actually television driven. It is only second to F1 and the English Premier League in total. We expect 850 million viewership in 150 television markets in the world. It is way beyond CNN and BBC. And that is the space Kenya is getting into.
And it's going to be over, what, a 2-day period? Is it a weekend?
We have 5 days of action.
Wow.
On Wednesday, we have the shakedown in Naivasha, which will be televised live. And then on Thursday, the cars come to Nairobi and they do a ceremonial start at KICC, and they do a super special stage or a spectator stage at Kasarani. It's a 4.2 kilometer, a dual racetrack. Very exciting. And that again will find its way to the television market or globally. Then after that, the cars will drive to Naivasha for overnight, followed by 3 days of action around Elementaita, Eburu, Kidong, Malewa, Lodia, and all those stages around there. The way the rally is designed is in a clover form, where cars come back to service once. They leave in the morning, they come back midday for major service, then they go back and do the stages, which means the service park is a beehive of activity. It's like the epicenter of the entire event. So there is action for 5 days. On top of that, WRC TV will produce 25.4 hours of broadcast footage. You're an expert in television, you know what I mean.
That's a lot
Even
of
producing 5 minutes is in itself a big challenge.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's going to be a series later on even, huh?
Yes, it continues as a series. And the other thing that people are not aware of, we have created a PlayStation game for the Safari. You can go to the internet and download that game straight away and start playing it. Now what it means is that kids in Australia or California or Vancouver, they are actually enjoying the Safari even at the age of 6, as long as they can do PlayStation. Now can you imagine how much we are selling our brand even to the future generations?
You know, Phineas, I can see the look in your eye. You look so excited. It's like you're in a rally car right now. It's like, a dream come true almost for you, huh?
Yes, for sure. It's a big dream come true. And many people ask me, what motivated you? And when I was in Naivasha for the post-mortem last weekend, I asked my people to tell me who was paying Dedan Kimathi, who was paying Pongei, who was paying Bildad Kagia. And they couldn't answer me. So really, to me, I am doing this for my country. It's not so much about what I get out of it, but I'm sure history will find some few lines for me.
More than you realize.
The route,
yes.
Jeff, there's one when we did the Reke twice in Naivasha as a media, just to pick out your media points to see how the route is, so that when you ask your questions, you ask relevant questions of where the cars have been. So we went to a place called the Sleeping Warrior.
Okay.
It's a stage called the Sleeping Warrior because there's a mountain there that looks like a sleeping warrior, if you look at it.
Yeah.
So we're told this is the monster. It's going to be mad. And we thought, rally cars, monster, how now?
Yeah.
When we did the Reke, it was dry. Right? So very dusty. When the cars got there for Equator Rally, it was raining. My friend,
It was different terrain.
everyone was complaining.
Yeah.
There is no driver who did not complain about Sleeping Warrior. They're like, this is it's tough. There are rocks in there, hidden in the mud. It's slippery. You need to beat your times. So it's one of the questions that CEO maybe would tell us. Have we relooked at Sleeping Warrior, or it's going to remain that mad Sleeping Warrior as it is?
Well, first of all, the Safari is not designed to be easy. If it's easy, then they would rather stay.
We'd all be driving there, all of us.
Yeah, exactly. So, and the Safari is designed to be like a 5-course meal. The starter looks a little bit easy, it's soup and bread. But when you get to the main course, you find yourself dealing maybe with the whole fish, bones everywhere,
Yeah.
and you've got to navigate through them. then obviously at the end everything looks very sweet if you get to the end. And that's the way we've designed the course for the safari for the 2021 WRC Safari Rally.
Tell me something. Our local favorites, and we have some. Yes, I saw Carl Flash Dundo winning the Equator the other day, and there's a whole bunch of locals as well. Are they going to be part of this? Are they part of the 52 or 56?
Yes, they are part of that. And I just need to expound more on the cars that we expect. Tomorrow, we expect to launch a replica of a WRC car somewhere in Nairobi. It is the first time such a piece of equipment has landed on the African soil. The WRC car is not on sale anywhere in the world. Even if you walk around with your checkbook and golden credit card and so on, you will not find one to buy. The value of a WRC car is estimated at 110 to 140 million Kenya shillings. And these are the cars the big boys will be driving. Unfortunately, none of our boys will actually have an opportunity to drive this, because these are designed as WRC cars, and they actually call WRC cars. We call them Priority 1. Then Priority 2 are manufacturers who have registered to drive R5 cars. R5 cars are like what Carl Tundo was driving, and Onka Rai, and Tej, Rai. Now, that car run by manufacturers who run in Priority 2. Those two categories, I expect that they will occupy the first 20 slots. Then we have the R5s, which we are calling Priority 3. Now that is where our Carl Tundo, Onka Rai, Tej, Makre Kimathi and others will come in if he gets an R5 car. That will occupy another 15 or so cars. Then the rest of the slots, we'll leave them to our boys who drive the Evo 10s, the N12s, the Subarus, the GVB8s and so on. And that's where we're going to find our local boys. But I want to encourage our local boys, because what I expect is that they will be the most experienced drivers in this race. They might not have the best machines, but they can make good use of their experience. Because the top guys, I think they will come here and drive extremely fast. Because, you see, no single driver who is driving in the current WRC who has safari experience. Okay, technology has helped them because they're able to follow the rally through the videos that we've created and so on. But there is hope for...
If Kenyans want to come and watch, can they do that? Will they be able to? Will there be places?
Yes, there will be places to watch. And like Michael has said, we have tried to put together very, very serious COVID protocols. And the FIA has developed Appendix S, which guides us on how to run motorsports during COVID period. As long as we apply that and we blend that with our MOH and government protocols, then would allow Kenyans to go to specific areas and watch. However, we might restrict the numbers that access these areas, and we are working out a way of ensuring that these restrictions does not affect the viewership of the rally. Two, we're going to have, the government is working on finalizing with a national broadcaster to actually make sure that the rally is available on television. On top of that, WRC TV broadcasts the rally live on several stages, and they actually produce updates which people can subscribe and get to follow the rally second per second.
Well, I'm excited already, Mike. I'm sure you're going to be all over that for those 5 days.
Yes,
Huh?
yes,
It's gonna be good stuff.
we'll be there. And there was one question that we must. I want you to watch his face when you ask this question.
Go on.
McRae, he did very well at
Colin McRae.
no McRae Kimathi.
Oh.
That's his
My
son.
Young-
my 26 years.
From Daddy. Go on.
Yeah, McRae was, he's doing very well. First of all, he was the youngest finisher of the candidate event at 24. Now at 26, he was the top African rally driver. He was 8th overall. He's 26. And I'm sure he has a very bright future. the beauty with what is happening with WRC is we're going back to the old days of Phineas Kimathi when I drove for Hyundai, Patrick Njiru when he drove for Subaru, and Jonathan Toretich when he drove for Toyota, and Jim Kamura and so on.
Yeah.
And I have so many inquiries on young drivers who would wish to become part of those big names. So it's a matter of time before we see the manufacturers coming back to actually pick our young talents and nurture them. Those conversations are going on, and our president is very excited because he believes in kazi kwa vijana. If we can get one or two of our own sons into these big teams, then it is going to be a big plus.
Yeah, looking forward to that, Phineas Kimathi. Well done, congratulations. And it's been a long time coming, but I can see the light at the end of this tunnel. Well done. Looking forward to it.
Thank
Good
you
to see
very
you.
much.
Michael Kinya, as always.
Yep.
We look forward to your updates.
No problem.
And
We have to take you there, Jeff.
I'd love to, man. I'd love to.
Saturday.
But you can't bring the G-Wagon.
What if we
shall, baby.